Sci-fi movies used to make us excited about the future. Now they mostly just make us feel anxious. Same formula, just bigger and darker, but way more forgettable. Because let's be real, how many actually stick with you? What if I told you the most powerful sci-fi story right now is the one that chooses hope instead? Welcome back to The Real Cinema, guys. And today we're talking about Project Hail Mary, why it feels completely different from almost every modern sci-fi film, why it might be one of the most important entries in the genre in years, and why it genuinely feels like the perfect example for what sci-fi is supposed to be. Let's get straight into it. For anyone who hasn't come across it yet, Project Hail Mary is based on the 2021 novel by Andy Weir, the same writer behind The Martian, and it stars Ryan Gosling. On paper, it sounds familiar. A man wakes up alone in space, with no memory, trying to piece together what's going on. You've seen this setup before: Interstellar, Gravity, Passengers, Ad Astra. The list goes on. And yet Project Hail Mary is completely different, not in a subtle way, but in a way that quietly rewrites what sci-fi can actually feel like. Because if we're being honest, modern sci-fi has developed a pattern. Humanity is on the brink. One person carries the weight of everything. There's a ticking clock, a looming sacrifice, and somewhere along the way, an emotional breakdown underscored by a massive score telling you exactly what to feel. And look, those films can be great. Interstellar does it brilliantly. Gravity is incredible at it. Even The Martian leans into it in places. But there's a common thread running through all of them, this idea that the universe is cold, indifferent, and ultimately overwhelming. That survival comes at a cost. That hope exists, but only through suffering. After a while, it stops feeling profound and starts feeling exhausting. Project Hail Mary breaks that completely. Andy Weir approaches sci-fi differently. He's not trying to explore existential dread. He's interested in problem solving. His characters don't collapse under pressure. They engage with it and figure it out. Science isn't just a backdrop here. It's the engine of the story. And that shift changes everything. The film follows Ryland Grace, played by Gosling, who wakes up alone on a spacecraft with no memory, tasked with saving humanity from a microscopic organism that's slowly consuming the sun. And somehow, it's one of the most optimistic extinction stories you'll ever see. Because Ryland doesn't spiral, he doesn't fall into despair. He wakes up, assesses the situation. One solution leads to another and then another, and suddenly the film becomes this chain reaction of curiosity and discovery. It's not about surviving the universe, it's more about understanding it, and that feeling is rare. Compare that to something like Ad Astra, where the focus is internal, heavy, introspective. It's beautifully made, however, it leaves you feeling small. But Project Hail Mary does the opposite. It makes you feel capable, like the universe is something you can engage with, not just endure. That tonal shift isn't a small detail, it's the entire point. And then there's Rocky, the five-legged, wholesome genius engineer you never saw coming. But unlike most sci-fi, this isn't a threat. It's not a mystery to fear or a force to fight, it's a partner. Rocky isn't a symbol or a concept, he's a character. Curious, impatient, intelligent, and genuinely kind. And what unfolds between him and Ryland is something sci-fi almost never gives us: a real friendship. Two completely different beings from entirely separate worlds with nothing in common except curiosity and the need to solve problems. And that's what makes it hit so hard. Because most sci-fi movies imagines first contact as suspicion, conflict, and competition. Project Hail Mary imagines something much simpler and much more radical. What if the first intelligent life we meet is just good? What if cooperation isn't the exception, but the default? That idea alone sets this film apart, and it goes even deeper when you look at how it treats science. In most big-budget sci-fi, science supports the story. It's there to enable emotional beats. In Project Hail Mary, the science is the emotional beat. Watching Ryland and Rocky slowly build a shared language through sound, math, and logic. That's the drama. That's the connection. That's what pulls you in. It's essentially two characters solving problems together, and somehow it's completely gripping. That's incredibly difficult to pull off, and the reason it works is because the film trusts the process. Every small breakthrough matters. Every discovery discovery feels earned. The joy isn't saved for the ending. It's present the entire way through, and Gosling carries this perfectly. There's a lot of this film where he's essentially alone, talking through problems, reacting in real time, and he makes it compelling. The humor feels natural, the frustration feels real, and the connection he builds with a fully CGI character is so convincing that you stop questioning it entirely. It's one of his most understated, effective performances. What's even more impressive is what the film doesn't do. It doesn't force in a villain. It doesn't inflate the story into a global disaster spectacle. It stays focused on what actually makes it work: curiosity, connection, and problem solving. And that restraint is exactly why it lands. Because at its core, the film is asking you to believe in something we don't see much anymore. Not hope that comes from suffering, not hope that's earned through loss, just hope that science can be joyful, that curiosity matters, that somewhere out there in all that distance and silence, there might be something or someone worth finding. And honestly, that feels more radical right now than any dystopian story ever could, because we're in a moment where everything leans towards darkness, dystopian worlds, narratives about collapse. This is what usually dominates us, and there's a place for that. But somewhere along the line, we started confusing cynicism with intelligence, grimness with depth. Project Hail Mary pushes back against that. It reminds you that optimism isn't naive, that wonder isn't childish, that the desire to understand the universe and connect with something beyond ourselves is one of the most human things there is. This isn't just a different kind of sci-fi film. It's an argument for what sci-fi should be, and it makes that argument incredibly well. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. Seriously. And if you have, let me know what stuck with you most, because there's a lot more to unpack here, and this is just the beginning.